dugout for a while before they ended up building the house, do you think?
Okay.
Well, that's entirely possible.
You know, you'd,
Uh,
Right.
I know the Huxtables out here lived in a cabin with a dirt floor
mhm.
for several years. And my grandmother thought that was horrible to have to sweep that dirt and try to keep it clean. And she was so tickled to death when they built a house out there and they didn't have to mess with that dirt anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Do you see two unidentified children, or?
I think three was
Three,
what
yeah.
my mother told me.
Yeah. You may have to keep that trunk to keep all your good stuff in.
We have a lot of good stuff.
Well, I mean, this is neat that it's been kept.
Uh-huh. Oh, Everett's mother kept everything.
Okay.
She did.
And your mother's name was?
Archie?
Archie, okay.
Archie Hunt Spunaugle.
Yeah.
And we even have 2 shoe boxes of letters that her mother had written to family, and family had written back. You know, back then there was no, that was the only means of communication was through letters and cards. And so we have 2 shoe boxes full of letters that were written back then.
So this would have been the ones that came out here originally then? Or would that have been another
Well,
generation?
it would have been
after?
Everett's grandmother,
Okay, so you're thinking.
so it would be that generation.
Mhm. Did they tell about some of the things that they were going through at the time?
Oh,
and-
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
They're
yeah.
really interesting to
Uh-huh.
read. They really are.
This isn't the one, Joe. This is when,
Want to hand him that?
sure.
He probably knows.
this is when his widow was trying to sell out.
Oh, okay.
And there are,
Okay, I just thought maybe since that
Oh,
was on the
here's
top, you
registered
had looked.
Shorthorns on the
yeah,
front.
registered
Oh,
shorthorns.
Okay. Ooh. So,
And I think
Shorthorns
Poland
and
China
Herefords.
hogs.
Shorthorns and Herefords are 2 different breeds, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. So know what a Hereford looks like. What does a Shorthorn look like? What color are they?
I think they're red,
Red?
aren't they?
But they don't have the white face.
No.
They're just, okay. Whereas a Hereford has a white face. Huh.
And there's a shoebox of, that Everett's mother has all of her papers in when she taught school. She taught school,
Oh.
country school, you know, and she's got a box of all her records of that. And,
What country school did she, where did she teach?
Oh, she taught, what's the town out west of Marysville and north a little ways?
Bremen or
No.
Herkimer?
Herkimer.
Herkimer.
Up near there, I think 2 years. And then she taught at the Gallup School, which is
Oh, yeah.
from the mill is a mile north and a mile west.
she
And
taught north of town here at that school. No, she didn't
No,
teach
that was my grandmother
Oh, okay.
that taught out here on Little Timber. But Mom taught at Patterson 103. And it seems like there was another one that she taught at for a while. Yeah.
And you know, back then, it's interesting, you weren't allowed to be married
Right.
and teach school. So after she got married, well, you know, she had to quit teaching school. I did not know that for
Mhm.
many
Oh, yeah.
years. I think that's really interesting, isn't it?
So your dad's name was Audrin?
Audrey.
Audrin,
Mhm.
okay.
And when you get to talking about schools and how things have changed, my grandfather, Parle, went to school up near Clarinda, Iowa. And that's back then, a lot of the children couldn't go to school a full year. They had to stay home and work. So they had kids going to grade school who were 18, 19, 20 years old. And in this particular school, they harassed the teachers, so they were having trouble keeping a teacher. And so, this one fella came along and applied for the job. And he said, can you keep order? Darn right I can keep order. So they hired him. First day of school, he walked in. The kids were there, noisy and so on. And he walked up to his desk and he banged the desk pretty hard, got their attention, and he said, now, he reached in one pocket, he laid a Colt 38. The other pocket, another Colt 38. He said, we will have order. Well, the kids later liked him and respected him. And he had order. But can you imagine a school like that?
Only in my best dreams.
She's a retired school teacher. Yeah.
But that was back then, and you know how things have changed down generation to generation and so on.
Huh. Here's Pat, here's an interesting
So
thing.
you mentioned, just a minute, you mentioned your grandpa's name was Parl. What was his wife's name?
May,
May. And your great-grandparents?
Levi, and I can't tell you what her name was.
Now I connect the Burr and the Hunt families. Do you know of a connection?
No, I'm not sure there.
That was Jessie Ann Hunt, and I think her mom would have been the Burr. I don't know right off, but she's closer in age to you and went to Blue Rapids School.
Jessie Ann Hunt.
Yeah, she was a little
Was she
younger.
in your class?
No,
No.
she was 1 or 2 years behind me. However, age difference would only have been 1 year.
But you don't know of a family relationship. You,
No,
Never.
I really don't. You get through the Hunts here, and I can't tell you much beyond that. Who they might have married or where they might be. I know there are a lot of Hunts in Topeka who are relatives. And when I was a kid, we went down to a reunion down there 1 year. Who I met, I don't know.
It would be super if you guys could have another reunion at Blue Rapids. Because there's those people from California. Remember the nephew and the aunt that came out and took pictures? And they were the Hunts.
They were they sat here at our house and read all those letters. from-
Did they? Okay.
They
Yeah.
And they got copies of them.
Great.
well, now Jessie Ann wants to come back next year at alumni banquet time.
I don't
Whether
think
she
Jessie
makes it or
Ann's-
not, I don't know. But she had wanted to come back
It was.
a couple of years ago, and she fell in her front yard and did some damage to her body and wasn't able to make it at that time. But she and her daughter would like to come back. They were here last year, and I wasn't in town.
Yeah.
Jessie Ann. Yeah.
But I think maybe there's two different families of Hunts, but I may be
I think
wrong.
you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's
yeah,
of
that's
another
entirely
family.
possible.
yeah.
I think
But-
it's another family, the Jessie Ann Hunt thing.
Yeah, I don't think we're related.
Yeah.
I can't just
Yeah.
absolutely say
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think we are.
And nobody in your family actually has done a genealogy chart?
Not that I am aware of. That gets pretty involved.
Well, yeah, but you gotta start somewhere with what you know at this time and what you can prove from the papers you have right now and.
Yes, we have a lot of Hunt papers, actually.
Mhm.
He's got a lot of the Spunaugle side,
Mm-hmm.
the genealogy. You have
Yeah.
a lot of that,
Mm-hmm.
but not of the Hunt, and yet we have a lot of the Hunt information,
The
really.
information, so it's a matter of putting it
So,
together, yeah.
uh-huh.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think
Um,
so.
The letters and stuff would be kind of fun to have. Yeah, I mean, if it's permissible too, a copy of some of those too from the Argy. No, your mother, right?
No, it would be his mother,
His mother.
the
Yeah.
Hunt,
The Hunt.
the
Yeah.
Hunt family.
Well, the reason I'm saying is there's a lady, the Overstreet family that lived in Blue Rapids. Do you remember the Overstreet family at all? They were a
Overstreet.
black family.
I don't remember that name.
Can't
Okay.
place them.
Anyway, there in the 70s there were some letters that we got copies of that Minnie Overstreet lived in New York, and she sent them back to Mrs. Dybert.
Elizabeth.
Well, the mother,
Oh, okay, Lillian.
Lillian. There we go.
Mhm.
And so we got copies of those, and they're just fun to read through. Just they don't say a lot about Blue Rapids. You know, doesn't put too many pieces together, but it's kind of fun to read back through those and get the feeling of how she was fond of the town and how much her
Okay.
teacher meant to her.
I
and
might go through some of those then and see if
Yeah.
I can pick out some.
if you know, if it's okay. Here's the deal here too. It said the home insurance company from New York, established in 1853. But down here, it's Burr and that Wynant are
Oh,
agents.
Wynant, or whatever.
Wynant, yeah,
Yeah.
is connected with. Those two names are connected with early Blue Rapids.
Oh, really?
So those are agents.
Huh.
I assume they were agents in Blue Rapids, but
Well, probably wherever they could find a customer, they probably sold insurance to, be it.
I'm wondering if they were in Blue Rapids at this point.
Oh.
Yeah, it did. It does. It says Blue Rapids, Kansas, right here. Duh. So this is their letterhead. Yeah. So, let's see.
There's a life insurance contract on my grandmother, Mrs. Sophia Hunt.
Now, you have a lot of unique treasures.
Don't you have a granddaughter that would like to put all that together, all your genealogy and grandson, somebody
Well,
computer literate?
I know what you're saying. They're so much more knowledgeable about computers than Everett and I are.
Put this back here. Didn't
There's
find
not
several
any
of them.
that
Pardon?
has
Didn't
really
find a
gotten
sale
into
bill.
that.
No, this box doesn't have that stuff in it, Joe. Wasn't there another box?
Well, just of her school things.
Okay, what else do we have on here?
Unless they got mixed up. I hope not.
We've got about 8 minutes on this tape and then we'll need to pause.